Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the CISO's webinar. My name is Juan Allan. First, I am the host of these episodes. And today we're going to be hosting the first episode ever of this webinar, which actually looks to get knowledge, exchange of, the situation on how the cybersecurity is actually evolving around the world. So right now we're going to start our first meeting with Raul Rosado, which is actually the CIO of the Puerto Rican University in the United States, in Universidad del Sagrado Corazón. So, dear Raul, thank you very much for being with us tonight. From Bangkok, hello, and you are in Puerto Rico. So, how are you doing today?
Likewise. Happy to be here.
That's fine. So Raul has a great knowledge about different topics that involve cybersecurity and also tech worldwide. So today we're going to start first. The first question, like about what would you say are the biggest cybersecurity challenges that universities are actually facing today worldwide in the United States?
Yeah, it's very wide because the thing is that with the cybersecurity landscape in universities, we serve multiple communities, meaning students, faculty, staff, well, people that are just coming into the library and all that kind of stuff. So it's very broad. So I would say mostly because we are safeguarding information from the students. There's the ransomware, like the typical part in any organization nowadays that they're having well, social engineering and all that kind of stuff. But aside from that, it's also there's the legacy systems because universities are not typically updating every single student management systems and payment gateways like other fintechs would be doing and other sectors like those would be going into the cybersecurity protection and cutting edge technology. And well, given that also the limitations in budget and resources, because universities are well known for the remote learning experience instead of actually being as industry very heavy on cybersecurity, which in regards, it's still something that we still need to do it because there's multiple regulations that apply to universities like TLBA, NIST, and the NIST frameworks and all that, that you wouldn't even imagine that would be applicable to universities.
Can you tell me a little bit about currently, we see a growth trend, on artificial intelligence, like everyone's talking about that. If you watch CNN, if you watch, Bloomberg, for a couple of years now. What role do you think, AI actually play in the cybersecurity world today? Like from your position and in the US market worldwide, do you think AI is important in the cybersecurity market and how these two topics relate?
Yeah, yeah, it's a very relevant topic here because the thing is that one of the biggest uh, use cases in cybersecurity with AI, it's the automation and correlation of data. When we are talking about cybersecurity, there's so much data being fed into like this typical systems that you would handle security like a CM, SOAR, and all that kind of stuff. And when you add that layer of analysis from an AI, you start cutting all that noise from yeah, like false positive and all that kind of stuff. You can start reducing and be more efficient as a blue team. And yeah, you would start being a little bit more efficient in the cybersecurity space once you start leveraging those tools. That being said, it's not something that would replace the analyst. It's something that will be a tool to well, aid the analyst into getting their attention into what's really important and reduce that time from the incident and the response.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think AI evolution, the evolution actually is something positive for the cybersecurity world, or it's something actually it's making hackers, have more complex attacks? What is your perspective from this? Do you think something positive for universities as well? using the
Yeah,
AI?
it's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like any weapon out there. And yeah, it can be used for good or bad. So I would say good in the sense that like I was mentioning, it's something that will help the good guys combat attacks in a more efficient manner. But it also enables the bad guys, well, meaning the hackers and all these bad actors, into creating a little bit more complex attacks and also create software that it's more adaptable in a way. So that is something that we'll have to keep in mind once we start looking into this threat analysis, where AI will have to be part of that analysis as well.
All right. Just now, we have a new government, new president in the United States, so kind of shift in policies, for crypto also, kind of tech as well. What do you think about the current situation about the cybersecurity regulations in Puerto Rico and also in the US market? What is your perspective? Do you think it's positive? It's something, that they should change, or yeah, what do you think about that?
So regulation is good, meaning in the fact that gets the attention to the right place, but there's something happening with, for example, in some states, not only Puerto Rico, but the issue is that sometimes the regulation tends to go to the wrong way. For example, in the case of saying that there's a lot of privacy issues that need to be addressed in cybersecurity, and those most likely are not being addressed by the regulation itself because the regulation is being more targeted into, well, IP protection, also source code, data leakage, and all that kind of stuff. But there's also considerations into what are we feeding into these models that that we're training, and who has access to those models. And this is where we need to start thinking on the cross-border data protection, because then maybe something is hosted, well, in China or some other country that doesn't have the same regulations that we do to safeguard data. And well, that is the complexity into these regulations that are still not being implemented. And well, we need to start looking into it a little bit more into that privacy space.
One final question, to close to this chapter. What do you think is the CIO or the CISO role important in today's cybersecurity world, but also in the university or in the, kind of educational segment?
So the CAO role, it's the main role of firstly evangelize the entire university and the community as well into saying what are the appropriate uses of the technology, not just AI, but yeah, in this case, when we're talking about AI, what is the appropriate, what is ethical, what is also like I was mentioning, the privacy considerations, cybersecurity considerations, and how can we be also more productive in our workspace while still maintaining all of these elements that we need in order to comply with all of these regulations that I was mentioning at the beginning of the interview, where we need to be compliant with DLBA. There's also considerations of CCPA, GDPR, which are the privacy frameworks, and those are not inherently embedded into these new technologies, and it's not just AI. That's what I was mentioning, and it's part of the CIO and the CISO to get the know-how and also start lending it into an appropriate language where we can start talking to the everyday user and also the executives in all the other executives, so they can bring it down, and it will be a top to bottom approach where we can start having these conversations with everybody across the organizations.
Dear Raul, any final comment you want to say before we finish this chapter?
Yeah, no, the when we're talking about the cybersecurity, AI, and all of this, the most important thing is to have, well, the basics into it, like It all goes down into the basics in cybersecurity, like having these functionalities in place, but also have two-factor authentication, the training and awareness, the protection at the endpoint network, and all of the components that you might have in your infrastructure. Having an updated infrastructure, like I was mentioning, the legacy. Also having a guidebook where you can have your incident response plan, business continuity, disaster recovery, and also threat detection, which AI is going to help, but also be a little bit more complicated in this regard. So yeah, it's a matter of having the controls and start identifying your risks and threats.
This was the first session of the CISO webinar with expert Raul Rosado, the CIO of the Universidad del Sagrado Corazón in Puerto Rico. Appreciate your time and thank you very much for answering these valuable questions. For now, this is Juan Allan from Bangkok reporting. Have a great afternoon, evening, morning. Thank you, dear Raul.
You